Okay, Abusia, and a good board CEO Ababontin, Ababe Robishe NPP created Scǎndǎl, $214 million lost how much as a Sammy Gyamfi, Lucy Ewo Gold Board. Abusia Mobe Kaya NPP minority led by a Akroma a year, a press conference or say a investigations Ěxp0sě Ewo Gold Board. Now a year Sammy Gyamfi a year $240 million. Omo alusi sa sika no ewo gold board en sa scandal no omo nhwe ne hai abusuya momme yenko na yenko nko tie ensema time a NPP for omo ye sa press conference na ye ba ye de aka ato amoso.
We are expecting the governor of the central bank and the chief executive of the gold board to appear before the committee as other persons who will be invited and to provide all the information that is required for the Republic to understand in detail what has happened and to put measures in place to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And where negligence or corruption is proven, prosecutions must follow, and all recoverable funds must be clawed back to the state.
Okay, Abusia, Mamote and Sama Ěxp0sě NPP minority, Akroma and Ayetsin and Kase. All mass press conference now, or just $240 million a year Ghana cedis, $1 million no Ghana Gold Board led by Sammy Gyamfi no omo lusi sa sikana abusia sisia no NPP for ekoko create a year nioma bi edifa a year Sammy Gyamfi ema hopsin adoyenso ye de bremo se wababe expose omo wababe true hot fire on them momme yankon so na yankon tie hopes na doye nensema odi tudwa efa ye good border odi echese odi rubbish yesa scandal na omode eto Sammy Gyamfi no na ye ba ye besa so de bio ato amoso
te se wo hwe good board nsensemu ya NPP 4% wo mu create some kind of ye can say the scandal edima ban yi so wo mu create a en create so wo ne tie no say a whole year and 29.
Yeah, 29. Yeah.
Ochina chipe 2025 ko.
Yeah.
Na yantima nya se ni pasmesi wakoye dream. Oh, we yakwa wie sika we. We yakwa sa dubious contract. Ya nya bi. And you sit down and say then Ghana for any njis adi we hu.
All right.
Edi asa na wo gen.
Okay, Abusia, after say hopes in adoyenso Ěxp0sě NPP for efa Sammy Gyamfi a oche say omo target Sammy Gyamfi no Abusia NPP for na sanso bio ekoko create Sammy Gyamfi a che say omo cha Joyce Bawa oye presidential staffer obeying President Mahama ye omo kofa alliances bi by omo chese Sammy Gyamfi ama Joyce Bawa no alliances or the year adwuma abusia NPP for kofa ne picture bi a chese okra rock bi omo aye ne gold omo sanso e fake alliances bi asanso aka ho eno ene ya project e de atoso e de amamo na enye asam keto akra na ene Sammy Gyamfi see form no ne nsema o de aba betu ga no wa fully document e de Ěxp0sě Joyce Bawa hon sensema or say sa bawa rock no company no company bi ana wo ho dada enti no propaganda na NPP for ye ma wasanso puli document or say sa $240 million na o say we lose wo gold board no masa NPP for no omonye serious omonye o madwen say omo be back to omo sebi omo sense na say omo aka bu no mo bu o man na ono no de on tolerate sa no man mo me enko na ye nkonkoti ensma Sammy Gyamfi editu ja abusia on subscribe ya subscribe like and share ma afofron so ensa into me and can be Ghana Politics Avenue so medamase.
People will be asking after this
the thing also is about why it is the sole gold buyer for the gold board.
Yeah, that is also another misconception. You know, a lot of people do not understand how gold boards trading model works. Samson, Gold Board has a 4-tier license buying system. 4-tier. The first is the tier 1 buyer. The second is tier 2 buyer. The third is the self-financing aggregator. And the fourth is the aggregator. All these licensed buyers buy gold for the gold board. So not only the aggregator buys gold, the self-financing aggregator buys gold. The difference between the self-financing aggregator and the aggregator is that the self-financing aggregator uses his own funds to buy gold for gold board, while the aggregator is funded by the gold board to buy gold primarily. Okay? Tell them I've not got into these tables yet, so they should wait. Let's go systematically. Now,
no, it's not being shown. It's only
okay. Then the third, the tier 1 buyer is a grassroots buyer who is licensed by the gold board to buy gold from licensed small-scale miners. The tier 2 buyer is licensed by the gold board to buy gold from both the licensed miner and the tier 1 buyer. So they are all gold buyers. In the year 2025, the first year of operation of the gold board, we issued 900 buying licenses. 900. Under our tier 1 license, we issued 269 licenses to qualified applicants. Qualified applicants underlined. Under the tier 2 license, we issued 578 licenses to qualified applicants. Qualified applicants underlined. Under the self-financing aggregator, who are also aggregators, just that they are using their own money to aggregate gold for us, we issued 52 licenses to qualified applicants. Qualified applicants underlined.
Is that where Bower Rock belongs?
No, Bower Rock is the aggregator. And that aggregator category, we issued 1. There were 31 applications for aggregator license in the year 2025. Only Bower Rock met the eligibility criteria for the aggregator license in 2025. That is why Bower Rock is the only person as at now to have been licensed as an aggregator of the gold board. But that license application and approval process that the board of gold board, the governing board of gold board does, not Sammy Gyamfi as CEO. Sammy Gyamfi as CEO and management only recommends. The board grants approval for aggregator license. That process is an ongoing process. It has not terminated. So today we can have 1 aggregator. Tomorrow we may have 0 because we can even revoke his license or suspend his license. Tomorrow we can have 10 because 10 people can meet our eligibility criteria. So people say, Bawa is the only one buying gold. They don't understand. They lack information. We have 900 licensed buyers, all of whom buy gold. Then they say, why is he only the aggregator? He's the only aggregator because he's the only one who has met the eligibility criteria. Let me tell you something. When we say an aggregator, what do people understand by that? There is no license in Ghana that enjoys the benefits of an aggregator license. Some say, have you heard of somebody going for a license in any institution, and after he gets the license, the state gives that person money in the billions to buy gold for the state? If you go for a BDC license, you are going to do your oil business with your own LCs and your own credit lines.
Absolutely.
Same for an OMC license. Okay? But when you say somebody is an aggregator, it means that he's entitled to receive state funds to buy gold. And therefore, there is a strict set of governance, legal, operational, and financial requirements he must meet as a risk mitigation measure. He must have minimum 3 years experience in gold trading. He must have minimum 3 financial statements preceding his application. He must have at least 3 buying offices in the country. He must have at least a bullion van and so on. But the most important requirement is this. He must present to the gold board a bank guarantee or an advance payment guarantee from a recognized financial institution that accords with the insurance policy of the gold board to secure the capital support he seeks from the gold board. You understand? We are not some zombie sitting at gold board where any Tom, Dick, and Harry comes and says, I want an aggregator license that will entitle me to use taxpayers' money to buy gold. and you say, I've given you a license. We are not sharing
and of 30,
aggregator licenses like you share
of 31 applicants. Barrock is only one. That
and I'm saying it on Newsfile today. Yes, I'm saying he has given us an advance payment guarantee covering a trade capital support of 2 billion cedis. 2 billion cedis. And that is why the board approved the application. If some people had done that when they had the opportunity to do good, he has done that. That guy is a great resource. When you want to talk to somebody about gold trading in Ghana, he's one of the go-to persons. And I think that people should just stop this attitude of running people down with lies. It doesn't help anybody.
Okay, interesting. Senor, hold on, because this particular group, the Kandifo Institute, which is led by Palgrave Boachi Dankwa, who is the founding leader, and former government spokesperson on governance and security under the Akuffo regime, have also a statement against your sort of praise and your assessment of the IMF's, concerns about the trading losses. So, have you incurred a loss?
When you say have you, are you talking about Gold Board or what?
$14 million US dollars.
Are you talking about Gold Board?
Well, we are told that you are cooking your accounts, so you pass it off to the Bank of Ghana.
So 2 questions. Let's start with one. Has Gold Board made a loss? Emphatically, no. The Gold Board, even though it is not a profit-making, public operation, has not made any losses. The Gold Board, for the year 2025, generated revenue to the tune of 960 million cedis. A little over that. Our expenditure for the year 2025 stands below 120 million. These are all unaudited figures. So if you look at our management accounts, we are on our way to declaring income surplus. Gold Board does not declare profits, it declares surplus. There's a big difference between profit-making institutions and surplus-making institutions. Now, it's very clear that we will be declaring a surplus of nothing less than 700, 800 million, to put it very conservatively. The law that established the Gold Board, the Ghana Gold Board Act, specifically under Section 42, requires us to publish all our quarterly financial reports on our website. We have done so.
Right.
And if you check that, you will see that everything I'm telling you is factual.
Yeah.
And by the end of first quarter 2026, that is by March this year, the Auditor General would have completed his external audit of our accounts. And we will publish all our financials for everybody to see that Gold Board has not made losses. And when you hear people talking about Gold Board losses, maybe they are dreaming or they are hallucinating. That is what it is. We've not made any losses. These are imaginary.
You are buying in excess of 3 to 4 billion Ghana cedis of gold every day.
Yeah.
And you are taking money from the Bank of Ghana for this purpose.
Yeah.
And every week, you didn't say
every week.
Every week,
yeah.
Every week, yeah. 3 to 4 billion Ghana cedis, not dollars. Right. And you are saying you have made profit and you have not made a loss.
We've made surplus. Because
but we are told that what you are doing is that you are transferring the losses onto the books of the Bank of Ghana.
Thank you for that question. Thank you. The reason why we've not made losses as Gold Board is that every money Bank of Ghana has given us, we have accounted for it. We've given them the gold equivalent. And we have gotten paid, we've been paid our agent fees. That is why we've not made a loss. Now let's go to the claim. You see, when you catch them here, they move here. They say, oh, now it is not the Gold Board that is making a loss. The Gold Board rather is transferring its losses onto the books of the BOG. How can an institution which is not making a loss transfer losses it is not making? Does this make sense? How can we transfer losses we haven't made? What Gold Board has done this year, you see, a child must learn to crawl before it walks. And a child must learn to walk before it runs. We established on 2nd of April. But by law, we took over the PMMC structure. And that PMMC structure is not fit for the purpose of the Gold Board mandate. So we needed to put in place the necessary institutional and operational framework that can deliver the Gold Board mandate. which means new departments, new units, new employees, new systems, new policies, and all that. So our supervising minister...
Including police powers.
Exactly. Setting up your task force and all that. Because PMMC didn't have a task force, PMMC didn't have a risk unit, PMMC didn't have a trading department, and we have to put all that in place and employ workers. Then our minister, Ěxp0sě, says, you have 7 months to the end of the year. This is the time for you to learn how to crawl. So put in place these measures. But while at that, you can't be doing nothing. Continue PMMC's Good for Reserve program with the Bank of Ghana because you inherited that agreement under the transitional provisions of the Gold Board Act as Section 76. So continue it. That is what we've been doing. So that program we have been running this year is a BOG program introduced by BOG in 2022. That program is funded by the Bank of Ghana. And that program has always sat in the books of the Bank of Ghana. In 2023, 2022, 2024, when the NPP was in power, G4R accounts did not sit in the books of PMMC or BOST. The accounts sat on the books of BOG, rightly so, because it's a BOG program funded by BOG. So where from this claim that it is Gold Board that has made an 8-month-old company now is responsible for the losses of BOG?
You talk about Akuffo says what you have done in 1 year or less than 1 year, it would have taken someone else 5 years to achieve.
Well, it's refreshing when you hear your minister say such kind words about you. He's not always as kind as that, you know. He's always very hard on people like me when he needs his numbers. So this was a very good New Year message for me, but that's fine. But the key point I'm making here is that the G4R program was introduced in 2022 by the BOG. It is funded by them. It is their program and therefore it sits in their books. Now, that program is a non-profit monetary policy initiative. A non-profit monetary policy initiative introduced by the Bank of Ghana to help them achieve their primary mandate of price stability. That program, any loss under it, is not attributable to an 8-month-old Gold Board, neither is it attributable to mismanagement or incompetence by the BOG. Because when you say that Gold Board has not made a loss, they say, oh, Sammy Gyamfi is saying it wasn't me, but it is BOG. Dr. Siama is a hero. And I'm going to explain that to you. He and that wonderful team at BOG. They have not, through mismanagement or incompetence, caused any loss. Any reported loss under G4R, if any, is a product of policy design. That is how the policy was designed to come to incur intentional and strategic expenses for superior economic benefits. So we are not saying we have not made a loss, but somebody has made a loss through mismanagement. No, that is the policy design. And it is so sad that those under whom the policy was introduced are now feigning ignorance about the policy objects and the policy design.
Earlier in April of 2024, was it 2025, you were heard to have made, criticism of the PMMC for buying the gold at what you call spot price for their gold for reserves.
Yeah.
And then selling to make loss. Meanwhile, you're doing the same thing.
Okay. You must understand, when I was speaking about the need for us to achieve some consensus, some agreement with miners, for us to be able to buy gold within a certain discount threshold, I was talking about the Gold Board model. I was saying that for Gold Board to avoid losses, the Gold Board will have to engage these miners for them to agree to some minimal acceptable discount. Under G4R, that is not the policy design and the policy rationale. First of all, let's ask ourselves, why was G4R introduced? Once you understand that, you will understand the point I'm making. The Bank of Ghana, Samson, did not wake up one day and said that, look, we want to make profit, so we are going into gold for reserves. That was not the policy rationale. Over the years, Ghana has accumulated reserves mainly from the export earnings of commodities like cocoa, oil, and gold, and other export earnings. That has not been enough. So governments have resorted to borrowing to shore up reserves. Because without your reserves, your currency is dead. And without a stable currency, you don't have a country. You don't have an economy. So governments have had to resort to borrowing. Now, when the NPP came into power, that reached a crescendo. Of course, they abused it. And every year, averagely, they were borrowing from the Eurobond market about 2 to 3 billion US dollars. So by 2022, the results were staring us in the face. Debt default, marked by hyperinflation of 54%, currency depreciation of more than 50% by November 2022. And we being locked out of the capital market. So we could not borrow for dollars again. So there was so much pressure on the currency, and the currency was depreciating. It hit 17 cities at some point in 2022.
Upgraded to junk status.
Yes, because there was no supply of FX to meet demand. So the Bank of Ghana said, okay, now we can borrow for dollars again. And you see, when you borrow for dollars, the effect is palliative, temporal, because you have to repay the debt. And when you are repaying, you have to pay it in dollars. You have to go and find dollars to repay. So the Bank of Ghana said, okay, we will use cedis to buy our gold in Ghana. And we will sell the gold on a weekly basis, T+4, for dollars, and give the dollars to the market. So the purpose of the program has always been foreign exchange accumulation to meet market FX needs and to build reserves. For what purpose? For the purpose of national economic stability. The purpose is not for the central bank to be trading gold like a licensed buyer of the gold board trades gold, buying at discounts and margins to make profit. That was not the purpose.
Okay, abusuya into wene ensema ekoso a ye de bremo Sammy Gyamfi Gold Board CEO waba amagana fo nyina hu se de NPP fo na omo kano no krebia enim into wene ensema ekoso a ye de bremo unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afofron so ensa into me enkabi aha Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so na be any updates be ebe dropping on so onsa ebe to me aka medamase.